Shout outs Joshua H. John Denicola. OG Perfect Sense. Shout outs to Wake Up America. MCW Joker, what's up, bro?
I love you. Please, I love you. I can't
Shout outs to Mad Art. Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. That's your ass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
We tried that for 10 minutes.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
It's hard to talk when you're bro, but it's hard to talk when you're ground. Get him off the ground, bro. Get him off the ground, you get him up right now. Were you here the whole time? He ain't spraying that shit. He ain't spraying that shit. He a fucking ball, bro. He ain't enjoying that shit right now, bro. You could have fucking put him in the car right now. He ain't enjoying that shit. He a fucking ball, bro. He enjoying that shit right now, bro. You could have fucking put him in the car right now, bro. He's not a position of rest or nothing. You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language explains it. You fucking bum. What?
Shouts to Mr. Imperial.
You know what's wrong. You can't look at me like a man. You're wrong, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Hey, your ass is grass. That's your ass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
You think that's cool, though, bro? You're wrong, bro. You're wrong for that. You're wrong for that, bro. You can't get mad. You just sit there. Stop being breathing right now. You're wrong right now, bro. Bro. I'm not scared of you, bro. You're fucking pussy ass dude, bro. What? Bro, look, well, you should check on him. He's not responsive right now. Get off the street. They don't know he's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now, bro.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. That's your ass. Shout out Scott Lovejoy.
What is that? What do you think that is? You call when you doing okay? You call when you doing okay? You call what you doing? You call when you doing okay? Are you really a firefighter?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Bro, you get on the side. You check it off. Check it off. Get back in the site. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro. Bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're definitely a bum, bro. Bro, he has not moved, not one time, bro.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Woo. Your ass is grass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. That's your motherfucking ass.
He doesn't know he's not fucking moving. Bro, what is you, 1087, bro? You're a bum, bro. 987, bro, you're a bum. First thing you want to grab is your face, but you're scared, bro. You're scared of fucking minorities.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin. Hey there, Mr. Chauvin. Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
You gonna just sit there with your knee on his neck, bro. You a real man for that, bro. He ain't nothing, bro. You a real man. You a real man. You just don't pull him outside like that, bro.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Resistance. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Once again, Scott Lovejoy. What up, bro? One hot guy. Dr. Sean Berry. We got the great Dr. Sean Berry in the house. Much love to you, Dr. Sean Berry. Welcome. Mr. Imperial, what up, bro? Wake up, America. What's going on, my man? John Denacole. AJ Newton. I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for coming through. So y'all read the title. How much time is Derrick Chauvin really gonna get? Like, for real. So what do we know? We know they're charging him with multiple cases. I'm sorry, not multiple cases. They're giving him multiple charges. Let's get into it. All right, so Derrick Chauvin charges. Why is he accused of both manslaughter and murder of George Floyd? So, second-degree unintentional murder is one of the charges that he's being dealt. It's the most serious charge against Chauvin and carries a prison sentence of up to 40 years. Although, according to Minnesota sentencing guidelines, he can only serve, he can possibly serve 10 years and 9 months to 15 years. That could be recommended. But he can also serve up to 40 years. Most likely, he's looking at the latter. All right, so let's keep it real. What else do we know? We know that death penalty is off the table. Okay? Death penalty is off the table. And we can check this out right here. State of Minnesota abolished capital punishment in 1911, making it one of the 12 states in the District of Columbia where crimes are not punishable by death. Capital punishment is propounded by advocates as a deterrent to crime, while critics hold that claim to be unsupported by facts and crime statistics. So they knocked that off the table over a decade ago. Okay? So we can forget about that. We know they're not going to kill him. Anyway, the second degree unintentional murder is the most serious charges that he's facing. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Bam. Hopefully y'all can see what I'm reading. But in order to gain a guilty conviction, Minnesota legislators, states prosecutors must prove Chauvin caused Floyd's death without intent to affect the death of any person while committing or attempting to commit a felony offense other than criminal sexual conduct in the first degree or second degree with, for, or violence or drive-by shooting. It continued, or causes the death of a human being without intent to affect the death of any person, while intentionally inflicting or attempting to inflict bodily harm upon the victim when the perpetrator is restrained under an order for protection, and the victim is a person designation to receive protection under the order. As stated in Minnesota State Legislature, prosecutors will not have to prove Chauvin intended to kill Floyd. That's off the table. Shout out to News Now Minnesota, New Guru, what's going on? So that's off the table. Prosecutors will not have to prove Chauvin intended to kill Floyd. They don't have to do that. They can just say he was negligent while they had the man in his care. All right, third degree murder. It's another charge. Chauvin will also face an additional murder charge after it was reinstated and offers prosecutors another pathway to conviction in the high-profile case. A person is found guilty of third-degree murder if whoever, without intent to affect the death of any person, causes the death of another by perpetrating an act eminently dangerous to others and evidencing a depraved mind without regard for human life. Boom. That's what the fuck I want to talk about right there. Bam. Depraved mind. We could see as he was placing his knee on the man's neck that he was out his fucking mind, ladies and gentlemen. Who gave this fucking cop a gun and a badge? Okay? He was out his fucking mind. In 2019, ex-Minnesota police officer Muhammad Noor was convicted of third-degree murder over the death of Justine Damon. Y'all remember that? A couple of years ago. A lady responded that she thought something was going on in her back alley. Police came through. One of them was Noor, another one was his partner, which was driving. And they went behind in the driveway, and she was back there. And supposedly she popped out of nowhere, and he popped the shit out of her. Discharged his weapon across his partner while he was driving. The man had called 911 to report a possible sexual assault in progress in the alley near her home, but was shot by Noor, who fired through the open window of the police car. Noor was sentenced to 12 years and 6 months imprisonment. You see what I'm saying? This is why I'm reading this to y'all, because how much time is this dude really facing? I'm speaking about Chauvin, Derrick Chauvin. How much time is this dude really facing? Because Noor killed this woman in cold blood, okay? Abandoned all police procedure, just acting as if he was in the wild, wild west, and it was high noon. He discharged his weapon across his partner while his partner was driving in the police vehicle. All right, so Noor was sentenced to 12 years and 6 months imprisonment in June 2019, and so far is the only Minnesota officer to be convicted of murder while on duty. We ain't have no problems. I guess it's safe to say we don't have no problems worrying about if Chauvin is going to be convicted. We ain't worried about that. We want to know if full justice is going to be served. This is the whole reason why I'm reading all this. This is the whole reason why I'm questioning how much time is Derrick Chauvin actually facing. Shout outs to Mike Jones. I'm gonna get with you in a minute. Mike, we got Mike Jones in the backstage ready to come out. Second-degree manslaughter. That's another charge. To convict Chauvin of second-degree manslaughter, prosecutors will need to prove the former officer caused Floyd's death by culpable negligence, whereby the person creates an unreasonable risk and consciously takes chances of causing death or great bodily harm to another. Minnesota state legislators said a 10-year sentence, a fine of no more than $20,000 or both is proportionate. However, state sentencing guidelines also recommend a presumptive sentence of between 41 to 57 months imprisonment. That's not even 6 years max, just 3 months shy of 6 years max. 41 to 57 months imprisonment. That's crazy. Shout outs to Manuel Ferreira. Azai, what's going on? Barry Vigil. Appreciate y'all coming in. Let's go. What's going on? Mike Jones, what up, bro?
What up, bro?
I'm chilling, man. Trying to get down to the bottom of, what he really gonna be facing. I mean, we happy that he in court and this is going down, but I don't think we're really looking further ahead what this dude might get, because I don't think we're going to be happy in the future.
I think he might beat it, man.
You saying he gonna just beat it straight out, huh?
Yeah, because they overcharged him. I think they did it on purpose too, you know?
So what you saying? They overcharged him with the what? With what charge?
The second degree.
Unintentional. Second degree unintentional murder.
I mean, because all his lawyers got to prove is reasonable doubt. You know, and they're going to use the fentanyl in the system for reasonable doubt.
Well, I mean, if he get off, it's not going to be a good thing.
I think there's going to be a mistrial.
That's going to be messy too.
They might have to try him a couple times, man.
I don't know, man. I think it might be this one time, but we're not going to be happy about it.
But just think about it, right? When's the last time somebody won a civil suit before the criminal case was over?
Well, we never heard of that. That's true.
I heard of that, man. So they did that for a reason, man.
Right.
You know?
So I'm gonna go and continue reading about this, the third degree. According to CNN, of course, fake news. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison said earlier this month, the charge of third-degree murder, in addition to manslaughter and felony murder, reflects the gravity of the allegations against Mr. Chauvin. We look forward to presenting all three charges to the jury. This was written maybe a few days before the case started. Minnesota statute said a person found guilty of third-degree murder faces upwards of 25 years imprisonment. A person is found guilty of third-degree murder if whoever, without intent to effect the death of any person, causes the death of another by perpetrating an act eminently dangerous to others and evidencing a depraved mind without regard for human life. This is what I wanted to talk about right here, because this was important, because as he was killing dude, he was looking crazy. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it. And I'm really looking into it more. Like, I'm looking into the parts when he had his hand in his pocket and he had his knee on his neck. And a lot of people saying that that's how comfortable he was with his hand in his pocket. I don't think so. I don't think that was him showing a sign of comfortability. I think he was applying more pressure with that hand in his pocket on his thigh, because his palm was open. I think he was really intentionally trying to get the last breath out this dude, man.
And they work with each other too.
Huh?
I said they work with each other too.
Right. And the thing about it is they can't even bring that up in court, right? That's not even an issue in court, but we know that. We know they was working with each other, and whatever happened, Floyd must have gotten his ass in that club. Verbally, he had to get up in his ass verbally, and the motherfucker held on to it. Because once he seen that the man was complaining about that he couldn't breathe and it hurts and all that, he was making a lot. It seemed like it gave him an idea to be like, okay, let me cut this motherfucker's breath off. That's how I feel.
That qualified immunity.
Huh?
Using that qualified immunity.
So he dang.
He figured nobody else did time for it, so why should I? You know?
Yeah.
The other cops are doing time for all these murders, man, so he probably figured he was good.
Shout outs to Dr. Sean Barry. He said he was psychotic. He enjoyed torturing and killing another man. Exactly. I fucking agree. That's what I seen in his eyes. It was like, it was like his intent. I gotta hurry up and kill this dude before the paramedics can't come. And even when the paramedics came, he still continued to make sure that his mission was complete.
Yeah, that shit was personal.
It was crazy. Check this out, though. This was a video I came upon, and it was speaking about exactly, how sadistic his mind could have been going as he was killing George Floyd.
The trial for Derrick Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with killing George Floyd, is set to start next week. Chauvin faces 3 charges. So what are the differences between those charges, and how much prison time could each carry? Let's verify. It's been labeled simply as the Derrick Chauvin murder trial, but it's important to understand the differences between the charges against Chauvin. So let's verify. What are Derrick Chauvin's charges, and what does the state need to prove? Our sources, Minnesota's murder statutes, and 2 criminal law professors.
Scientifically informed, insider look at mental health topics. If you find this video to be interesting or helpful, please like it. Police evidently went to his car and confronted him, and after it happening, this is Floyd murder case. Another question here, should the police officer who murdered George Floyd have been charged with first-degree murder? So just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. So here I'll be looking at the timeline of this case, then the mental health and personality factors. So starting with the timeline, we go to May 25, 2020, Minneapolis, Minnesota. George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, buys a pack of cigarettes at a Cup Foods. The employees at the store believe that he paid with a counterfeit $20 across the street and got in his car. The employees evidently went to his car and confronted him and asked him to return the cigarettes. Evidently, Floyd refused, and they called 911. They told the dispatcher about the counterfeit bill and indicated Floyd was awfully drunk and not in control of himself. A few moments later, 2 police officers arrived on the scene. Officer Lane, 37 years old, and Officer Kang, 26 years old. They confronted Floyd. He was still in his vehicle. Floyd resisted, but he stopped after they handcuffed him. As the officers tried to put Floyd into a police vehicle, Floyd indicated he was claustrophobic and said he could not breathe. At this point, we see 2 more officers arrive. Officer Tao, 34 years old, and Officer Derrick Chauvin, 44 years old. Evidently, Chauvin pulled Floyd across the back seat of one of the police cars out of the door and onto the ground. Not long after this, Chauvin puts his knee on Floyd's neck.
Shout out to Lone Wolf Audit News.
As Kang puts weight on Floyd's torso. We also see that Lane holds Floyd's legs. So we have 3 police officers applying force to somebody who's on the ground and handcuffed. Tao stood watch. Chauvin had his knee on Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. During that time, Floyd told the officers he couldn't breathe at least 16 times. He also said he was about to die. He specifically referred to the knee in his neck as making it so he couldn't breathe, and he asked them not to kill him. In addition, bystanders told the officers to let Floyd breathe, but the officers refused. We see that Officer Kang checks Floyd's pulse, but he's unable to find it. Even at this point, the officers did not render any aid to Floyd. They called for an ambulance first at a non-emergency level, but then upgraded it to an emergency. This whole time, Chauvin continues to apply pressure on Floyd's neck. So he did this even after they called for an ambulance and even after the paramedics arrived on the scene and checked.
So basically, that's what they proven right there, that he was negligent while he had Floyd in his care. Because once you're handcuffed and you're in the care of the police, they're supposed to make sure that your well-being is safe, your safety, everything regarding your health, your mental status, whatever. And if they need to have to call EMTs, ambulance, whatever it's called in each city or state, then they'll do so. Well, what was done was the total opposite. He continued to keep the pressure of the knee on his neck after there was not any resistance from George Floyd. And that's the problem. That's the negligence right there. That's what he should be going down for, along with the other charges. But Mike Jones said he think they're going to throw it out. It's going to be a mistrial because they overcharged him. Right, Mike?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, excuse me. Yeah, I think they overcharged them. And the fact that they have the all that fentanyl in the system,
Yeah.
it raises reasonable doubt for the defense. You know what I mean? And in the murder case, all you need is the verdict has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be tough for them to convict him. You know what I mean?
I mean, really though, Mike, with all the footage, with everything that the jury is seeing, with the testimony alone so far, you still think the jury is going to be moved to acquit this dude? I'm just saying. I've never been on the jury and nothing like that, but I'm just seeing myself on the jury. I'm like, especially, they all heard about it when it happened. Like, it was stone cold murder. Like, how can they break down a jury like that to make them believe, oh, he didn't kill this dude?
All they have to have is one juror, man. That's it. You have one jury that's against Black Lives Matter, that doesn't like black people, that's racist, and it's a wrap. They're going to say not guilty, and they're going to use the fentanyl for an excuse. So everything's already set up to play, man. That's why they gave him the $27 million. So it's all been set up beforehand because they know what the outcome's going to be.
Shout out to Mike Jones, man, for telling it how it is, man. You always have, too. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to go ahead with this video. Go ahead. What you about to say, Mike?
No, because a lot of people don't understand when you go to trial, they have to convict you beyond a reasonable doubt. So there can't be any type of doubt in the case of how he died or why he died. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the defense is going to bring up the toxicology. They're going to say he had enough fentanyl to kill. Oh, I think it was 3 times enough fentanyl to kill him or some shit like that. I forget exactly what it was. But they're going to bring that up. That's going to be the defense. You know what I mean? And people are getting emotional about it, but that's just how it is, man. There's loopholes in the law like that.
But the thing about it is that at the time, the 3 times worth of fentanyl he had in his body wasn't killing him. You think what I'm saying? It wasn't killing him. That pressure, that knee on his neck was killing him. He wasn't dying at that time. That's why they showed what was going on in the store, how he was hopping up and down, putting his arms up in the air. They were showing he was feeling good. You know what I'm saying?
But the defense can say he just started feeling it. He just ends up, you know what I mean? They can just be like, yo, man, he took the fentanyl, and then the shit just got into the system a little later. It kicked in. He had a fucking heart attack. You know what I mean? There's
so absent all the excitement that came from Officer Chauvin and the other officers he was already handcuffed. So absent all that, them pushing him in the car, him resisting and all that, it was just the fentanyl alone. They crazy. They crazy.
That's what the defense is gonna say. You know what I mean? His defense is gonna bring that up. You already know that. That's automatic, man. That's anybody who thinks they're not gonna bring that up is crazy. If that's in the toxicology report, which people saying it is, that's gonna be. They're gonna bring up a doctor. They're gonna bring their own experts in. You know how it works, man. He's not gonna get justice.
Joshua A. said he think you right too.
And if he gets any time, it's gonna be something stupid. Like it's not even gonna be. You know what I mean? It's gonna be something dumb, man.
Floyd was transported to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. The initial autopsy did not clearly indicate asphyxiation as the cause of death. Rather, it said that his restraint may have contributed to his death. But later we see an autopsy that confirms that Floyd died due to asphyxia due to compression of the neck. All 4 officers were fired the next day. Chauvin was arrested 4 days after the murder and charged with third-degree murder as well as second-degree manslaughter. So third-degree murder is causing the death of another in a manner that reveals a depraved mind and shows a disregard for human life. But it's done without intent to kill. On June 3, the charges were modified to include unintentional second-degree murder. A conviction for this charge can be reached in 2 ways. Felony murder, so Chauvin was committing a felony assault when Floyd died, or by proving Chauvin caused Floyd's death while intentionally inflicting bodily harm. He was guilty no matter how we look at this. If he was convicted of this charge, he could be sentenced up to 40 years in prison, but the presumptive sentence is 12 and a half years. Many people have asked why Chauvin wasn't charged with murder.
12 and a half years. That's what I think he's going to get. I was on with Audit News live earlier, and I was saying that in his chat that if anything, justice won't be served, but he will get the 12 and a half years.
In the first degree. In Minnesota, there are 7 circumstances that qualify for this charge. Only the first item is applicable here, and that is the person causes the death of a human being with premeditation and the intent to affect the death of the person. Now, many have said that the state would have trouble convicting Chauvin of this charge, but in watching the video, it's clear he is guilty of first-degree murder. Chauvin knew his behavior was lethal. He also had warnings from Floyd and from the bystanders. I can understand how a prosecutor who never saw the video might think that this is a second-degree murder case, but after seeing this video of Floyd being murdered, all doubt is removed. It's one of the most horrible scenes imaginable. We see 4 people over the course of several minutes murdering a man in handcuffs. If somebody was thinking this is really more of a second-degree murder case, they would only need to reflect on an alternative scenario in order to change their mind. If one were to imagine the same scene, except Chauvin strangles Floyd with his hands, I think most anybody would agree that's first-degree murder. Well, he really did the same thing with his knee. It caused death in the same way, asphyxiation. It really doesn't matter if somebody uses their hands or a rope or they put their knee on someone's neck. It still causes suffocation. Also on June 3, we see the other 3 officers were charged with aiding.
Let me take that back real quick.
It really doesn't matter if somebody uses their hand. Chauvin strangles. If somebody was thinking this is really more of a second-degree murder case, they would only need to reflect on an alternative scenario in order to change their mind. If one were to imagine the same scene, except Chauvin strangles Floyd with his hands, I think most anybody...
And he was trying to do that. If you look at some of the video, he was trying to constrict his breathing with his arm. And I think he was trying to use pressure point moves as well with his fingers to his neck. Did you see some shit like that, Mike Jones?
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that part.
When he was in the back seat of the car, because when he was in the back seat of the car, he was saying he couldn't breathe. He said, I can't breathe. And Chauvin had an arm around him. Yeah.
They're trying to say he was high. That's why he was acting, That's why he was acting crazy.
First-degree murder. Well, he really did the same thing with his knee. It caused death in the same way, asphyxiation. It really doesn't matter if somebody uses their hands or a rope or they put their knee on someone's neck. It still causes suffocation. Also on June 3, we see the other 3 officers were charged with aiding and abetting a second-degree murder, and they're also charged with aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. In Minnesota, to get a conviction here, we see the person intentionally aids, advises, hires, counsels, or conspires with, or otherwise procures the other to commit the crime. This is essentially a conspiracy charge, and therefore it also carries a 40-year maximum sentence.
Shout outs to Kevin Braniarski.
Now moving to the mental health and personality factors. So what happened in this case was that 4 officers entered into a criminal conspiracy to commit murder. Even though this case is clear-cut, it is worth mentioning that technically these 4 individuals have the presumption of innocence under the law. I can't imagine what defense they're possibly going to mount for these charges, but they are entitled to their day in court. There are many surprising elements in this case. The murder was committed in broad daylight. The murderers were police officers who were on duty and responding to a call. The victim was handcuffed and unable to defend himself. The officers were in no danger whatsoever. And they committed this crime over the course of almost 9 minutes. After they committed the murder, they returned to their vehicles and drove away, presumably. Right? So
that's my point right there. They did not try to resuscitate the man. George Floyd was in his care. This is why I think he should go down alone. George Floyd was in his care once he was cuffed. And once he did not resist anymore, they were supposed to pick him up on his feet, get him resuscitated, wait for the medics to come. But he was not in any way supposed to continue to have the need. That's what should be the issue, and they're not shining a light on that. They're trying to use this bullshit ass medical issue with drugs. Like, if that was the issue, he would have dropped dead. If it was the fentanyl or whatever. Yeah, like how they gonna try to play a coincidence in real time? Oh, it was just a coincidence that he dropped dead when he got into that situation with Chauvin and other police officers. Come on, man, that's bullshit. It's bullshit.
They gotta discredit him, you know what I mean?
So they didn't appear to be shaken at all. They just went on their way as if they didn't just kill somebody in the street. So in a situation like this, we could be seeing traits of the dark tetrad. This construct has 4 personality traits under it: psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and sadism.
And this is all the shit that this motherfucker is.
I don't really see any Machiavellianism here, but we see quite a bit of the other 3 traits.
I see sadism like a motherfucker. I seen the devil in his eyes twice when he was looking at the bystanders, and right when he rolled George Floyd in that ambulance and he turned around, this motherfucker eyes was bulging right outside his motherfucking head.
Items that seem to align with these traits. Derrick Chauvin was essentially expressionless as he murdered Floyd. For quite a bit of time, he had his
Shout out to Let's Go. Have a good night.
hand in his pocket, almost like this was just a casual day at work. He may have done this to communicate how he could kill and not be distressed. This communicated how he was not afraid. He wanted to make sure the bystanders understood he was fearless. It appears that he really wanted to dominate Floyd. That was the message he was communicating through his behavior. He could have just taken his knee off of Floyd's neck at any time, but he did not want to back down. He did not want to give in to common sense, give in to decency. He didn't want to give in to the urgent pleas of the bystanders or to Floyd's urgent pleas. Floyd again made it clear that he was dying. Chauvin wasn't going to give an inch. It became a matter of proving his absolute control and domination of that situation and of Floyd specifically. He was committed to homicide, and he was not going to give up. Even when the paramedics came over to check Floyd's condition, Chauvin would not remove his knee. Floyd had been unresponsive for minutes at that point. This is just utter domination. When bystanders voiced legitimate concerns, Chauvin pulled out a can of pepper spray, or whatever that was, and threatened them. They were not going to interfere with his will. It's like he was trying to prove a point. He was capable of murder, and he was going to commit murder. Chauvin's actions were sadistic. I think that's really an important part of his motive here. Chauvin wanted Floyd to suffer. Chauvin was not
Shout outs 901 Don Diva.
doing something that caused distress to himself. He wasn't keeping his knee on there because of any genuine fear. He was doing it because it was rewarding for him. That's where we get into the sadistic component. On top of that, he was narcissistic. His authority could not be questioned. Even the most reasonable and sensible plea.
Nobody could talk him down. Nothing that was said from the curbside of the bystanders who were yelling and pleading for him to not kill this motherfucker. It was not reaching his fucking thick Cro-Magnon skull. It wasn't reaching it. This is how you can tell this was a sick, sadistic motherfucker. And y'all wonder why I talk that shit in my videos. If you go back to the video where I was at the Mass General Hospital and got arrested live, I asked the fucking guard who felt as though he wanted to follow me all the way around the fucking block because I had a camera in my hand. And when I decided to come back and confront him about it, I said, "You a sick, sadistic motherfucker, ain't you? Huh? You do all types of shit." This is what I told this motherfucker because motherfuckers like him. And this was before George Floyd was killed.
Pleas from the bystanders were ignored. They were almost taken as threatening by Chauvin. In Chauvin's mind, those bystanders weren't good enough to tell him what to do or to give him advice. Chauvin did not consider Floyd worthy of even the most basic human dignity. This is one of the many areas where we see the racism component, but also we see the sadism component. Right before the paramedics took Floyd away, Chauvin had to know that Floyd was dying. Even if he believed Floyd was seriously injured and not dying, remorse would have been the appropriate feeling at that time.
He knew he was dying. It was his intentions to kill this motherfucker. He knew he was dying. Shout outs Bernard. What up, Bernard? It was his intentions to go out there. What I'm telling you, for me, in my opinion, the point where Chauvin came up with the idea that I'm gonna kill this motherfucker came when they were going back and forth in the back seat trying to get him in, and they couldn't get that big motherfucker in there. And at the time when Floyd said, "I can't breathe, he was trying to cut his breathing. He was trying to restrict his breathing from then on. Where the video at, man? Hold on. It enticed him like the MMA fighter said. It enticed him. Where is this video at?
Used to be an investigation into his background too.
Who?
Derrick Chauvin, the cop.
You say he used to be into investigations.
I'm just saying that there should be an FBI investigation into his background. See if he's part of any like white supremacist groups. All that needs to be checked, man. You know what I mean?
They already been done that. Like they keep a tight leash on his file. You know,
Exactly.
like ain't even hollered at his wife yet. What's up with his wife?
Oh man, I don't know.
So at this point right here, when they realize they can't get him into the back seat, is when I noticed that he kept trying to go towards his neck. Like, this is what they do. It hasn't even changed too much from the old days of just them putting the noose around your fucking neck. That's the most famous area to go to is the neck. And this is what I noticed. Look at him. Look. He's handcuffed. He got his
He knows
arm.
the cameras is on.
Huh?
So and he knows the cameras are on too. That's crazy.
Looking up and everything.
That's,
I know I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Talking to
Right there. I can't breathe. He's screaming more and more he's screaming, the more Chauvin is steadily applying this choke right here. And this is when I believe that this is when he came up with the idea that I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. He failed attempt. He wasn't successful. George was too stiff. And George ain't no slouch. Okay? George got some mass to him. He tall as fuck, and he ain't no fat motherfucker. Like he got a little tone to him.
why don't they shackle his feet?
Take him out. What? Please, man. I can't fucking breathe. Come on out. Yeah, just
So they got him on the ground. First thing he go to is his neck. Chauvin is right on top of his head.
Right.
It's a very psychological thing that's happening here.
Shout out to Kevin Werner. So from this point on, while he's screaming, and I guess this is Tal going in the back looking for restraints or whatever, Chauvin is already on his neck, and he attempted to do it in the back seat. And once he realized he couldn't get him down in that back seat, he said, all right, let's pull him out. And he went and he struck for the neck, and he never let off. And he was in handcuffs, and he is negligent for that shit. Point fucking blank.
All right. Oh my God. I can't believe. Mama, I love you. Please, I love you. My kids, I love you. Okay. I can't believe it. Please. Please let me stand. Please, I can't breathe.
Can you get on the sidewalk while we continue to kill this motherfucker? Please. Could you get on the sidewalk?
Probably seen a body cam.
He's not letting up. He's not letting up. The weight has continued to. George was able to shift a little bit, and unfortunately, I think that went against him when he shifted because I think Chauvin was able to shift his knee deeper into the position that he wanted.
Please, man. Please, What do you want? I can't breathe. Please, I can't breathe shit. Get up, get in the car, man. I will. Get up, get in the car. I can't move it. Come on. I can't. My knee. My neck. I'm through. I know you're missing.
I'm not even looking for a home run. This right here is enough. This right here is enough. He's not letting up. He is in his care. George Floyd is in his officer's care, and he is not even resisting anymore. And he's still. What did the dude say? The senior officer. He said that this procedure that he's using is the top tier, the most dangerous and excessive force that you can use in a situation like this, and he's handcuffed. My stomach hurts. My leg hurts. And he said, uh-huh. He's giving up all the signs that he needs attention and that it's becoming fatal. He even says, oh, I'm about to die. He says that as well. Okay? Look at these people right here. Old head Charles McMillan. Okay? They need to give him a key to the city. Okay? Old head Charles McMillan needs a key to the city. He needs to be recognized because you know what? He seen something and he said something. And he was there from beginning to the end. And he G-checked Chauvin at the end too in his own way. I know you. And he told him, you know, and pretty much in his own words that, hey, that knee to the neck wasn't cool. Constant pleas of I can't breathe, I can't breathe. That's wrong right there. You got your knee on this neck. Get your knee off his neck.
This is how you don't do drugs, kids.
Shout out to 901 Don Diva. I heard that there was something flowing under the cruiser. I have not yet to see it, but I did hear that. I think Level Wise to see. Shout out to Level Wise to see. She ain't in the chat tonight, but she mentioned that I believe a couple nights ago.
We tried that for 10 minutes. We're done. Okay, we're done. You tried to breathing right here, bro. You don't think that's what it is? You don't think nobody understands that shit right there, bro? I trained at the academy, bro. Right, you understand, bro? That's bullshit, bro.
They go to liquid right there. They go to liquid right there.
Bullshit, bro. You fucking stopping his breathing right there, bro. Okay. You don't think that? Bro, we're done. Okay, we're done. You tried to his breathing right here, bro. You don't think that's what it is? You don't think okay, bro. Bro, we're done. You
Told him straight up.
I'm trying to find that liquid right there that was flowing.
What? No, I already know that, bro. I trained with after these dumbass dudes at the academy, bro. You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't look at me like a man because you're a bum, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro. That's what I'm saying. He's breathing right now, bro. You think that's cool? You think that's cool, though, right? What's your badge number, bro? You think that's cool right now, bro? You think that's cool, though, bro? You're a bum, bro. You're a bum for that. You're a bum for that, bro. You think mad. You just see there stopping his breathing right now. You fucking go out right now, bro.
Shout out to Level Wise to see. Level Wise, then you say he urinated himself.
Bro, okay. You gonna do something like that? What you want to do? I'm not scared of you, bro. You're a fucking pussy ass dude, bro. What? Bro, look, bro, you should check on him. He's not responding. responsive right now, bro. No, bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? He gonna just let him look at his neck, bro? Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse, Tom. Tom, check his pulse. Tom, check his pulse, bro. Bro, check his pulse, bro.
I don't need to go to jail, man.
What is that? What do you think that is? You saw you call when he doing okay? You call when he doing okay? You call what you doing? You call when he doing okay? You really a firefighter? Yes, I am. Okay, bro, you get on the sidewalk. You call. Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse.
Once again, I'm not looking for a home run. All I'm saying is he was responsible. He was responsible of George Floyd's safety and well-being after he handcuffed him. You got all these people saying, check his pulse, check his pulse. The only thing that's going on is,
They all need to go down, man. All them cops.
all they was doing,
They all need to go down, yo.
to the neck. Yeah,
All of
people
them need to do time.
everything.
Oh, sit back in the cycle. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro. Bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're definitely a bum, bro. Check for the pulse. Bro, he has not moved not one time, bro.
At this time, you can pretty much assume that he's dead at this point. He hasn't said nothing in a minute, if you noticed.
Okay, that's cool. Go back in the store, bro. Go back in the store, bro. He's not. I see that, bro. Bro, you don't need to help me out, bro. I know your parents. I know everybody that runs the store. You don't need to help me the fuck out, bro. He's not fucking moving right now, bro. I just saw that, man. Bro, he was just moving when I walked up here. I know that. Bro, you just got up. You just got back out. I'm busy trying to deal with you guys. Bro, he doesn't have it. Bro, he's not fucking moving. Bro, what is you, 1087, bro? You're a bum, bro. Or 987, bro? You're a bum. First thing you want to grab is your base because you're scared, bro. You're scared of fucking minorities. Like, bro, 3 minutes, bro. You're not fucking moving. Bro, he's not even fucking moving. Get off of the fucking neck, bro. Get off of his neck. Are you serious? He's gonna let him keep his hand on his neck, bro. You're a bitch, bro. Tal, you gonna let him keep that like that? You gonna let him keep that man inside of you, bro? Bro, he's not even fucking moving right now, bro. This is not even fucking mouth. Get outside. Bro, 97 years old, bro. You gonna just sit there with your knee on his neck, bro. You a real man for that, bro. He ain't nothing, bro. You a real man. You a real man. I tried to keep going on this shit. And he just gonna pull him up there like that, bro. Bro, look, he's fucking dead, bro. He's fucking dead, bro. He's fucking dead. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Do not touch me yet. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Ain't that what happened?
We're chilling like nothing ever happened. Fucking crazy, man.
What? Did they find something in that car? I don't know.
That's wild, man.
They had to know he was dead, though. Come on, man. Come on, that was crazy.
Listen, Jay Alexander King, he definitely knew he was dead. If you see the body cam footage of the officer next to him, you can see it in his face. He's just like nodding his head up and down, kind of like waiting to see what the outcome is going to be. And I think he was kind of thinking like, well, I think he asked him, he said, you want to let up? You want to let up on him? In so many words. But dude was just intent on killing him. Simple as that. And that's what it should be right there. Like he was negligent.
Definitely one of the craziest videos of all time, man.
Yeah.
Very powerful video, man.
And if justice is not served like it should be, it's just going to show, how much they really give a fuck.
I hope it does, man. He gotta do some type of time, man. And George Floyd should sue the fuck out of him too, man. Civil lawsuit, whatever the fuck he got.
This is a second-degree murder case, but after seeing this video of Floyd being murdered, all doubt is removed. It's one of the most
Shout outs to Phased, Kevin Werner.
horrible scenes imaginable. We see 4 people over the course of several minutes murdering a man in handcuffs. If somebody was thinking this is really more of a second-degree murder case, they would only need to reflect on an alternative scenario in order to change their mind. If one were to imagine the same scene, except Chauvin strangles Floyd with his hands, I think most anybody would agree that's first-degree murder. Well, he really did the same thing with his knee. It caused death in the same way, asphyxiation. It really doesn't matter if somebody uses their hands or a rope or they put their knee on someone's neck. It still causes suffocation. Also on June 3, we see the other 3 officers were charged with aiding and abetting a second-degree murder, and they're also charged with aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. In Minnesota, to get a conviction here, we see the person intentionally aids, advises, hires, counsels, or conspires with, or otherwise procures the other to commit the crime. This is essentially a conspiracy charge, and therefore it also carries a 40-year maximum sentence. Now moving to the mental health and personality factors. So what happened in this case was that 4 officers entered into a criminal conspiracy to commit murder. Even though this case is clear-cut, it is worth mentioning that technically these 4 individuals have the presumption of innocence under the law. I can't imagine what defense they're possibly going to mount for these charges, but they are entitled to their day in court. There are many surprising elements in this case. The murder was committed in broad daylight. The murderers were police officers who were on duty and responding to a call. The victim was handcuffed and unable to defend himself. The officers were in no danger whatsoever. And
shout outs to Wake Up America. Have a good night.
They committed this crime over the course of almost 9 minutes. After they committed the murder, they returned to their vehicles and drove away, presumably, right? So they didn't appear to be shaken at all. They just went on their way as if they didn't just kill somebody in the street. So in a situation like this, we could be seeing traits of the dark tetrad. This construct has 4 personality traits under it: psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and sadism.
Shout outs to Karen McGoran.
I don't really see any Machiavellianism here, but we see quite a bit of the other 3 traits. I'll go through a few items that seem to align with these traits. Derrick Chauvin was essentially expressionless as he murdered Floyd. For quite a bit of time, he had his hand in his pocket, almost like this was just a casual day at work. He may have done this to communicate how he could kill and not be distressed. This communicated how he was not afraid. He wanted to make sure the bystanders understood he was fearless. It appeared.
This is Dr. Todd Grande. That's the name of his channel, Dr. Todd Grande. Y'all can go check him out. And the title of this video is George Floyd Murder Case. Is Derrick Chauvin guilty of first-degree murder?
Here's that he really wanted to dominate Floyd. That was the message he was communicating through his behavior. He could have just taken his knee off of Floyd's neck at any time, but he did not want to back down. He did not want to give in to common sense, give in to decency. He didn't want to give in to the urgent pleas of the bystanders or to Floyd's urgent pleas. Floyd again made it clear that he was dying. Chauvin wasn't going to give an inch. It became a matter of proving his absolute control and domination of that situation and of Floyd specifically. He was committed to homicide, and he was not going to give up. Even when the paramedics came over to check Floyd's condition, Chauvin would not remove his knee. Floyd had been unresponsive for minutes at that point.
And that's the point that I'm making right there. He did not remove his knee. He was handcuffed. Floyd was in his care, and he was supposed to make sure his well-being was taken care of as best as possible, with keeping him restrained in order to take him into the police station.
This is just utter domination. When bystanders voiced legitimate concerns, Chauvin pulled out a can of pepper spray, or whatever that was, and threatened them. They were not going to interfere with his will. It's like he was trying to prove a point. He was capable of murder, and he was going to commit murder. Chauvin's actions were sadistic. I think that's really an important part of his motive here. Chauvin wanted Floyd to suffer. Chauvin was not doing something that caused distress to himself. He wasn't keeping his knee on there because of any genuine fear. He was doing it because it was rewarding for him. That's where we get into the sadistic component. On top of that, he was narcissistic. His authority could not be questioned. Even the most reasonable and sensible pleas from the bystanders were ignored. They were almost taken as threatening by Chauvin. In Chauvin's mind, those bystanders weren't good enough to tell him what to do or to give him advice. Chauvin did not consider Floyd worthy of even the most basic human dignity. This is one of the many areas where we see the racism component, but also we see the sadism component. Right before the paramedics took Floyd away, Chauvin had to know that Floyd was dying. Even if he believed Floyd was seriously injured and not dying, remorse would have been the appropriate feeling at that time, yet we see no evidence of remorse by any of the officers. The sheer brutality of the murder of a defenseless man was frightening, as well as the ease with which Chauvin facilitated the cooperation of his criminal conspirators.
Shout out to Dr. Sean Berry. He says it was gratifying for him to kill another person. And that's how I feel. I think he was getting off. Once he realized, when this dude let him know that he couldn't breathe and, he had a weakness going on, it was his opening to killing him. Not to mention the fact that they had beef at the club that can't be mentioned in the courtroom. And we know they had beef, and like I said, in my opinion, whatever went down in that club, George Floyd got in his ass verbally, and Derrick Chauvin held on to that.
Any one of these officers at any point could have done the right thing, and yet they were afraid to challenge Chauvin, perhaps because of an us against them mentality, which unfortunately is common in police departments. Floyd, and to some extent the bystanders, became the enemy, and therefore anything that they said would automatically be dismissed. These officers would not respond to reason. Their thinking became rigid and aggressive. They believed that their authority imparted immunity. If a citizen had physically intervened, they would have been arrested or worse. We know from what Chauvin did that they would have been sprayed with pepper spray. So there's really no illusion here that these bystanders could have intervened in any way, again with physical force, even though they were watching a murder taking place. This is the type of protection that the police have in these situations. Everyone around knows if they jump in, they could be the next victim. Now, some have said that Chauvin essentially manipulated the other officers. I can appreciate that argument, but we're not talking about something small here. We're talking about murder. If their conviction to do the right thing doesn't activate when they see somebody being murdered, when would it kick in? The reality is they saw Floyd's life as not valuable. Again, connecting back to racism. If Chauvin had been murdering a white man instead of a black man, those officers would have stepped in to help. I think the thought process here that becomes so dangerous is beyond simply Chauvin thinking to himself, he can kill Floyd. In addition, he's thinking he has the right to kill Floyd. This murder really uncovers the horrors of racism, aggression, and the failure to assert positive values. All four of these officers failed in the worst possible way. I know whenever I talk about controversial cases, there will be a variety of opinions. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be interesting. Thanks for watching.
And once again, that's Dr. Todd Grande. That's the name of his channel. He has 679,000 subscribers. And if you're interested in hearing more from him, you can go to his channel. And I just hit the like button. So the title is, how much time is he really going to get? That's what we was talking about. I'm going to pull that article up again. And look at the charges he's facing. 3rd-degree murder, unintentional murder. Like I was saying, I think he's just going to get the bare minimum, which is the 12 and a half years, which ain't shit. Mike Jones said he thinks it's going to be an acquittal. That's even more fucked up. They're going to try it again. This is going to be some long, dragged out bullshit. Second-degree unintentional murder, 3rd-degree murder. Second-degree manslaughter. Second-degree manslaughter carries a length of 41 to 57 months. Second-degree murder, unintentional murder, 10 to 15 years. It also could carry up to 40 years, but it don't seem likely that he's going to get that. I'm just keeping it real. I don't think he's going to get that much. Mike Jones said he's going to get acquitted because they're going to base it off the drug use, the fentanyl, and they was also talking about Percocets and all of that. Shit is bullshit.
Okay. My
Hey man, I'm gonna get into the testimony of George Floyd's girlfriend, but before I do, I just want to show y'all a little snack I whipped up. I know I don't sell content, but I sell recipes. Y'all want to know how to get that Maillard reaction right there going on them drumsticks? Send a couple of dollars to that Cash App, and I'll send you a recipe. This is the testimony of George Floyd's girlfriend, Courtney Ross.
Name is Courtney, Courten.
Shout out to Lone Wolf Artists. Have a good night.
N-E-Y, Batya, B-A-T-Y-A, Ross, R-O-S-S.
Poor Dirt Farmer. Shout out to Poor Dirt Farmer. 13 Kings, what's going on?
Ms. Ross, can you just tell the jurors, not your address, but generally where you live?
Yes, I live in Northeast Minneapolis.
How long have you been in the Northeast Minneapolis area?
My entire life. I was born and raised.
And can you tell the jurors how old you are?
I'm 45 years old.
Seems like a strange question. There is a reason for it.
Okay.
And do you have any children?
I have 2 boys.
And Ms. Ross, did you know George Floyd?
Yeah.
When did you meet George Floyd?
I met Floyd in August of 2017.
And you refer to him as Floyd?
All the time.
That's how you just refer to him all the time?
Yes.
And, in court, we prefer to use Mr. Floyd. So as much as you can, do that, but I understand Floyd is just how you know. Right?
Sure.
All right. And so when was it that you first met Mr. Floyd?
May I tell the story?
Sure.
Okay. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. Excuse me.
And Ms. Ross, just so you know, if you feel like you need to just take a moment to collect yourself, feel free. We're in no rush here.
Thank you. In August of 2017, I had gotten off work one night. I worked at a coffee shop for 22 years now, part-time. And I was tired, and it just cleaned up and closed up the shop, and I went to go visit my son's father, who was staying at Harbor Lights Salvation Army shelter. He had some difficulties and was staying there. I entered Harbor Lights, and when you
hit the lights! Everybody about to get killed out here. Like it for everybody.
he didn't seem to be coming down, so I waited in the lobby, and I wanted to talk to him about his son's birthday.
Shout out to BX Trust. John Doe.
I was pretty upset, and I started kind of fussing in the corner of the lobby. And at one point,
Hey, who y'all think gonna play the parts when they put the movie out? I got Don Cheadle playing Mike Jones. I got Don Cheadle playing Charles McMillan. Yeah, I ain't figure out. Look, a black woman could play this part right here. I was thinking, Gina from Martin. Gina, Gina from Martin
She
can
be
nail
perfect for
this
that.
trick right here.
She be perfect for that. She's gonna play Floyd though.
I want to play Floyd. I'll play Floyd, but
I just said. I
realistically
just.
speaking, I don't know. I'm gonna think about it though. While I was playing, I'm gonna think about it. Who you think?
I have no clue, man.
So it
No
came
clue.
to me. Floyd has this great, deep southern voice, raspy. He's like, sis, you okay, sis? And I wasn't okay. I said, no, I'm just waiting for my son's father. He, he said, well, can I pray with you?
Let me pause this real quick. Mike Jones put something up. He sent something to me. He said medical examiner's autopsy reveals George Floyd had positive tests for coronavirus. Full autopsy report on George Floyd, the man who died after being restrained by Minneapolis police last month, reveals that he was positive for SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused COVID-19. Wow, that's crazy. We also had heart disease, hypertension, and sickle cell trait.
Yeah, use all that in the defense.
What'd you say, Mike?
So they're gonna use all that in the defense.
Yeah, I can see him using that. No, I hear what you're saying. I'm not going against what you're saying. It's just as crazy that they're going to be that petty to mention all that stuff instead of what really happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy how they just deflect from what really was going on and bring up all this other stuff. I mean, I understand it. I know the procedure, of the defense on how they, going to try to protect dude, but it's just so crazy because the most damning evidence is the video.
Exactly.
I was tired. We've been through so much. My sons and I. He was a kind person just to come up to me and say, can I pray with you? When I felt alone in this lobby. It was so sweet. And at the time, I had lost a lot of faith in God.
Ross. Sorry to interrupt, but
The body of a young girl was found.
I'm going to help with a few questions, okay?
Sure.
At that point, did you know what Mr. Floyd was doing there at the Salvation Army?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. He worked there as a security guard.
So he came up to you and tried to comfort you?
Yes.
And was that the beginning of your relationship?
Well, not that part. That was just Floyd. Afterwards, he had asked me who my son's father was, and I said, we're co-parent, relationship, and that's when I like to say his voice dropped like 2 levels, even though it was deep already. And he asked me if he could get my number, and we had our first kiss in the lobby. And that's when our relationship started.
And after that, how close did you become?
You're very close.
And so I'm not sure you told us when this was. Do you recall roughly, not the date, but the year at least?
In August of 2017.
And up until his death, did you continue to be in a relationship with him?
Yes.
Can you describe, how close how often you saw each other during those 3 years?
Just about every day we saw each other as much as we possibly could.
Were there times when you weren't as close as other times?
We had, sometimes just like off couples. We argued sometimes and, might have taken a break. But
Like most couples.
But like most couples, I assume.
Sorry. You familiar with this photograph?
Yes.
What kind of photograph is this?
I would call it a dad selfie.
And why would you call it that?
I'm just joking, but a lot of dads, sometimes don't have the best angle when they take selfies. It's kind of lower and it just, don't take the time to maybe do the certain angles that everybody else does.
Shout out to Robert Reed.
So this is you believe, a selfie that he took?
Yes. I believe it was outside of the Salvation Army.
You recall about roughly when this was taken?
From the sweater he was wearing, I think it was the fall of 2017.
Did Mr. Floyd have any children?
Yes.
How many children did he have?
2 girls.
And did he try to be a part of their lives as much as he could?
Yeah.
New documents filed in the George Floyd case give new information about the medical examiner's findings in Floyd's autopsy. Handwritten notes of a law enforcement interview with Dr. Andrew Baker, the Hennepin County medical examiner, say Floyd had 11 nanograms per milliliter of fentanyl in his system. Quote, if he were found dead at home alone and no other apparent causes, this could be acceptable to call an OD. Deaths have been certified with levels of 3. In another new document, Baker says that is a fatal level of fentanyl under normal circumstances. But then Baker added, I'm not saying this killed him. Defense attorneys for the officers have signaled they will argue Floyd died from the drugs and pre-existing health conditions. The new documents say Floyd had a heavy heart, and at least one artery was approximately 75% blocked. Dr. Stephen Nelson, chairman of Florida's Medical Examiners Commission, who's not affiliated with the case, reviewed the new files and says that doesn't mean the drugs or health condition is what caused Floyd's death.
We've all had cases where those kinds of levels come into play. And again, you've got to look at the whole picture. It's one thing to die with something. It's another thing to die from something.
The documents say Baker performed the autopsy before watching the videos of police restraining Floyd with Officer Derrick Chauvin's knee on Floyd's neck because Baker wanted to avoid bias in his autopsy. In Baker's final report after watching the videos, he ruled Floyd's death a homicide caused by law enforcement's subdual, restraint, and neck compression. The FBI asked the Armed Forces Medical Examiner to review Baker's autopsy, and they agreed with his findings. Quote, his death was caused by the police subdual and restraint, with cardiovascular disease and drug intoxication contributing.
That was Lou Reduce reporting. The next big court hearing by...
Shout out to Mike Jones for sending that over to me.
See, look, this girls. It was hard being in Minnesota in the long distance. But
So his daughters are not in Minnesota. No?
No.
Want to make sure that your voice is loud.
Shout out to Wolfie Gladley, accountability inspector. What up, bro?
Right here. At some point, when you knew Mr. Floyd, did you learn of his mother's death?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was?
It was in May of 2018.
And did you see, well, describe if you would for the jury what you saw his reaction to his mother's death.
Shout out to Robert Reed. He asked, do you think he will be convicted? Well, that's what we was talking about, Rob. I think he's going to get the minimum, which is the 12 and a half years. We was reading in the article that he could receive less than that, 41 to 57 months, something like that. And we do know he could get up to 40 years, but with the guidelines and with who we're talking about, you know, I was thinking he could be getting to about 12 and a half years and beyond, which is not justice served. Mike Jones said that he think he'll be acquitted and they'll have to retry him. You know, either way, it won't be justice served.
Floyd is Floyd's what I would call mama's boy. I could tell from the minute I met him.
So we're trying to figure out who's going to play George Floyd whenever they bring the movie out. Of course, I said myself, but realistically speaking, if we're speaking about an actor, once y'all drop it in the comments, I have came up with nobody yet. I have came up with somebody, but I'm knocking him off the charts. Terry Crews, I don't like dude, and I don't think he'd be able to play the part. So I haven't came up with anything yet.
And when he came back,
It's definitely gonna be Terry Crews.
Would you say what?
That's the perfect one, yo.
I don't want it to be Terry. I don't do Terry Crews.
Me neither, but he play him in. Who else they got?
You talking about definitely the one.
Yeah, that's a good thought, yo.
I would think it's somebody else better.
Nah, that was a good one, yo. No bullshit.
he was broken. He seemed so sad.
Dr. Sean Berry said Will Smith. I don't think so, Dr. Sean Berry. Will Smith can't. He don't have the body structure. I don't know. You can't dress. Listen, you can't dress Will Smith up to look like to look different. I don't know. Tisha Campbell for George Floyd's girlfriend. Tisha Campbell.
You got DiCaprio as Derrick Chauvin. I said Leonardo DiCaprio as Derrick Chauvin.
No, what's the Bill Burr? Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
The comedian Bill Burr for Chauvin. Wolfie Gladley said Tyrese. He said Tyrese.
Nah, he's too short.
Shout out to Wolfie Gladley. He said Tyrese for George Floyd. The new guru said Steve Harvey.
That you love like that.
Ms. Ross, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but let's see if I can ask some questions to help a little bit. So he struggled with grief over his mother's death.
Yes.
And going to change topics a bit, okay?
Okay.
Need a minute? Are you okay?
Okay.
You met Mr. Floyd
R.I.P. DMX.
at Salvation Army,
Yes.
and then proceeded to maintain a relationship with him.
DMX passed, bro.
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
I just heard that he had an overdose. I ain't hear about him dying.
Yeah, he's brain dead.
Wow.
He's a vegetable.
Wow, that's crazy. Shout out to DMX.
I have to ask you if the drug use was a part of that relationship,
Yes.
and what kind of drug use was a part of that relationship?
Floyd and I both suffered with the opioid addiction.
And do you know how, I mean, like for your own self, how you came to be involved, you know, with what kind of drugs and how you became involved with opiates?
Yes. Both Floyd and I, our story, it's a classic story of how many people get addicted to opioids. We both suffered from chronic pain.
You see all these people
Blindness
outside?
from my neck and it's in my back.
This is something
We
you
both
ready?
have prescription,
This place is overwhelming.
but
Have to experience that. So appreciate it.
Hold on, y'all. I gotta find out what's playing.
I'm scared.
after prescriptions that were filled and
What the fuck?
New documents filed in the George Floyd case give new information about the medical examiner's findings in Floyd's autopsy.
My fault, y'all.
we got addicted and tried really hard to break that addiction many times.
And were you each aware of each other's struggles with opioids?
Yes, eventually in our relationship we shared that.
And did you work together on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you know, over how long of a period did this struggle go on for you, for both of you?
Addiction, in my opinion, is a lifelong struggle. So it's something that we dealt with every day. You know, it's not something that just kind of comes and goes. It's something
He's going hard every day, huh?
Were there periods of time when you were not using opioids?
Absolutely.
Same question with regard to Mr. Floyd.
Yes, absolutely.
Were there times when you knew that he was using opioids more than by prescription?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And when you
You're setting it up.
using prescription opioids, where did you get them?
Off the street. On the black market.
Black market.
You knew that he was doing that as well.
Yes.
And
See how they doing it, resistance?
attention to, well, let me ask this.
What'd you say?
You see how they're setting it up?
Yeah, I hear
It shouldn't even be relevant, I mean, but
Like 3 years.
Yes.
it's crazy.
And did this use of opioids beyond even prescriptions continue throughout that 3-year period for Mr. Floyd?
Yes.
Something that you...
I'm gonna do breaking news on DMX real quick.
Love TV, then me.
Now, new news has come out about DMX, and we have an update. Now, DMX's lawyer of 25 years speaks out and he addresses the conditions of DMX. Now, he is off of life support, which is very good news, but his lawyer is extremely concerned about DMX's condition. Now, more information has come out to the world about DMX and his current condition. Now, according to the reports, DMX's lawyer of 25 years, his name is Murray Richmond, spoke out to a local news company. Now, DMX's lawyer did confirm that DMX was in the hospital as a result of a heart attack, but he did not confirm that he'd been using drugs. Now, DMX's lawyer says that he is currently surrounded by family and he is in still what people are considering grave condition. Now, the attorney also confirmed that DMX is indeed off of life support. It's still a
shout out to Joshua H.
DMX is off of life support, but still alive. Well,
he's been in the hospital as a result of a heart attack. He is been taken off life support system and he's breathing on his own. But we are concerned. It would be disingenuous of me to suggest that I'm not a worried man at this particular point. Earl Simmons, DMX, in my opinion, is one of the great poets of our time. And what he had to say, if people bother to listen and they can overcome their hostility to rap, they would learn a great deal.
All right, y'all. So I don't know. I think it's an even more update of DMX since that update. That was like 6 hours ago. But Mike Jones said he pretty much brain dead.
Saw it yourself and were aware of it. Yeah. To ask the same question of you. Did you struggle using during that entire period?
Yes.
Were there times when you would use together?
Yes.
And for what you saw Mr. Floyd using, what form of opioids did he typically use?
Oxycontin or oxycodone, any kind of oxy.
And how did he get that? How did he use it?
Swallow them?
And so in pill form?
Yes. Sorry.
Not the easiest question to ask, for you. So, sorry. If you don't understand my question, feel free to ask. Let me know, okay? And so there were times when you would obtain non-prescription opiate pills together?
Yes, they would be other people's prescriptions.
I'm sorry.
They would be other people's prescriptions.
And were there some times, well, why would you get them through other people's prescriptions? What do you mean?
To make sure they were safe.
And were there times then that you had to get pills other than, from what you knew were somebody else's prescription?
Yes.
Yeah, they keep making this an issue, man. These prescription pills that they getting off the street. None of that has bearing on the knee on this motherfucking neck. I don't care what they say. But this is what these slimy motherfuckers do. This is the level that they go to. And they do it on all different levels in court. Just this just happens to be a super big high profile case. But they do slimy shit like this on the lower level cases as well. This is nothing new.
And were there times when you thought that maybe Mr. Floyd wasn't using or was using, but not with you, not in your presence?
Yes. There was a time.
And were there times when you were using together? Well, I guess that's a poorly worded question already. Let me just ask it this way. Did you use the same amounts when you used?
Shout outs to Phased.
And taking your attention to March of 2020. And there was a time in March when you knew he was back to using pills. Is that right?
I thought his behavior had changed.
What do you mean by that?
Level wise to see, you already. I already know that that's rhetorical what you're asking, but we already know what they're doing. They setting it up to make it seem like the drugs is the reason why he died. And it's so horrible and so messy that they're doing it this way because, like I said a few minutes ago, the evidence, the hardest proof is the video showing that this cop is not letting up off this dude's neck.
I think when you know someone who suffers with any type of addiction, you can start to kind of see changes when they're using again. And there's just slight behavioral changes that I noticed in him that it just made me suspect.
And in March of 2020, did you also kind of fall back into using
Yes,
some?
I did.
So you and were you two using together back in March, or did you just suspected his use?
In March, yes, we did together.
And was there a period then after March where you thought the two of you had both been able to quit for a while?
Yes, a long period.
And then kind of going forward to May of 2020, was there a time when you thought you might be using again?
Yes.
So in May, when you thought that, what led you to think that?
It was the same type of thing, just behavior changes into it.
And did you also kind of fall back to using opioids in May of 2020?
One time, yes.
And he was aware of that?
Yes.
And when he let me ask you this, I guess. In May of 2020, did you know where he was living? Just the general area?
Yes, yes.
Did he have his own place where he stayed?
Yes, he lived in a place in St. Louis Park, side by side.
Did you have roommates there?
Yes, two.
Did the two of you ever live together?
No, we stayed at each other's places, but we didn't live together.
Making money with DoorDash?
So in May of 2020, do you recall the last time you spoke with him?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was in relation to his death?
It was the day before he died.
And how did you talk to him?
By phone.
And did you know, what he was going to be doing that night or where he was going to be staying?
That night I knew he said he was going to be staying at Sylvia's.
Did you know who Sylvia was?
Yes, she was a friend of ours.
And as far as you knew, he was going to be staying at a friend's house, Sylvia.
Yes.
And do you recall him saying what the plan was for why they were going to Sylvia?
Well, Floyd had, made his Minneapolis family here too, and a lot of the people that he was friends with were from other states, and almost everybody had lost their job within that time, and he was feeling kind of lonely and just wanted to hang out with his friends, and so a lot of people that worked with the Salvation Army with them and other people that just stayed there, and they were, just kind of being a family.
And was Sylvia, did she work at the Salvation Army too?
Yes.
So you knew her from there?
Yes.
So that was the last time you talked to him, was the Sunday before his death?
Yes.
You told the jurors earlier that...
All right, so I got Chevy Chase as Judge Cahill. You hear me, Mike?
Sort of the classic story leading to...
Chevy Chase is Judge Cahill.
Opioid addiction, having injuries, and prescriptions.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mr. Floyd been an active person physically?
Yes, he's very active.
Okay. What do you mean by that? What types of things did you see him do?
Well, Floyd likes to work out every day. He lifted weights that are far beyond anything I could lift every single day. He did sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, just within his house. If he went out and about, he would go running, biking. He always played sports. He loved playing sports with like neighborhood kids or anybody really that would pick up any type of ball or racket. He would play instantly. So he was always involved in that. He would do anything physical. We learned paddle boating. We'll take walks. That he was the type of person who would just run to the store.
When you were with him, whether either he had been exercising or just hanging out, did you ever complain of shortness of breath, having difficulty breathing?
No.
And did he have did he have sports injuries that he complained of?
Yes.
You mentioned earlier, his neck?
His neck, and it down like from his neck to shoulder blade and down to his lower back. Those three main kind of areas.
And despite that, he remained physically active. He would do these activities.
Oh, yes.
And when he did those things that led to his prescriptions, those injuries that led to his prescriptions for opiates.
The
injuries that he had in his neck.
Oh, yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the wrap up of George Floyd's girlfriend's testimony. We came up with a couple of actors to play the parts. Level Eyes to See said William Shatner for Judge Cahill. I said Chevy Chase. Somebody said Tyrese for George Floyd. I said Terry Crews, who I really don't want to play that part, but a lot of people said they agreed with Terry Crews playing George Floyd. I said Tisha Campbell for George Floyd's girlfriend. Bill Burr for Derrick Chauvin. The comedian Bill Burr for Derrick Chauvin. I want to give a special shout out to everybody in the chat. Jason Finch for continuously putting in the chat that Derrick Chauvin needs to be locked up. Shout out to Jason Finch. Joshua H. Kevin Zwern, appreciate you, bro. Level Wise to See, Lou Guru. Kevin Brian Narski. BX Trust. BX Trust, did you used to be BX Press? I I ain't seen my man BX Press around in a minute. Hey, Mike, man. Appreciate you coming up, bro. Shout out to News Now Ninja. Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
Get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up in the car.
Okay, Lord.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. That's your ass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. That's your ass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
We tried that for 10 minutes.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Woo! Your ass is grass. That's your ass. Your ass is grass. Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass.
You understand it, bro? That's bullshit, bro. You fucking sucking and breathing right there, bro. Okay, it's talking. It's hard to talk when you're dead. Bro, but it's hard to talk when you're brown. You're getting a bump now. You're getting off the ground, bro. Get him off the ground. You're getting a bump right now. He enjoying that shit. He enjoying that shit. He a fucking bump, bro. He enjoying that shit right now, bro. You could have fucking put him in the car right now, bro. He's not positioned to actually do it. You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language is crazy. You fucking bump.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. That's your ass is grass, that's your ass.
That's Academy, bro. You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't look at me like a man because you a bum, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro. That's what the stuff he's breathing right now, bro. You think that's cool? You think that's cool, though, right? What's your What's your bad, though, bro? You think that's cool right now, bro? You think that's cool, though, bro? You're a bum, bro. You're a bum for that.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
Yeah, bro. You get mad. You see me. Stop these reading right now. You all out right now, bro. Bro. Something like that. I'm not scared of you, bro. You're fucking pussy ass dude, bro. What? But look, well, you should check with him. He's not responsive right now. Get off the street.
Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Hey, your ass is grass. Your ass is grass, that's your ass. Hey there, Mr. Chauvin, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
He's not responsive right now.
That's your ass, that's your ass. Your ass is grass.
No, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? You're going to just let him get on his neck? Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse, child. Child, check his pulse. Child, check his pulse, bro. Check his pulse, bro. You don't do drugs, bro. What is that? What do you think that is? You saw me call when you doing okay? You know when you doing okay? You call what you doing when you doing okay? You really firefighter. Bro, get up. You got you call. Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Get back in the sight. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro.
It's the Resistance, y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Another night, another coverage of this whole Derrick Chauvin situation. 9 times out of 10, I'll be back tomorrow with more coverage. Shouts to everybody that rocked out tonight. Shouts to Mike Jones for coming up on the panel. Shouts to OG Perfect Sense for moderating the chat. Shout outs to Maddie Madness.